Hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. I know it's been a little while since we did anything that wasn't strictly gaming related, and technically we're still not. We're going to go and have a look at the Anita of Sarkeesian today. She put out a video a couple days ago called Lingerie is Not Armor, Tropes versus Women in Video Games. Well, okay, fine. Hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. I know it's been a little while. Let me just grab that here real quick because I am a silly person. All right. So, everybody, welcome to the stream. We've got some people that are going to run kind of late. Catherine will be here as soon as she manages. She does have the link to come join in, and I think Atheist Rex said he might turn up. So, in the meantime, we're gonna do a little bit of entertaining, kind of. Well, yeah,
a
no
lot
kidding.
of entertaining.
So anyway, the thing that Anita is, of course, complaining about is the scant dress on the part of characters in video games, or specifically female characters. Some of which is silly, some of which is kind of nice, and other bits of which are maybe not the best things ever, but hey, they still work. So we're gonna take a quick poke at it. Clicking that there, okay. So first up, she has all kinds of complaints about. Well, we already know what she's complaining about because, quite frankly, that's just the way things are. So I've got a couple of counter examples we're going to start with while we wait for the Catherine, because she's got all kinds of funny notes apparently. I went and I did a search for one game series, just one. Okay, here is the protagonist from the game Phantasy Star from way back when.
We can't see it. I don't think we can see it because I think it's still capturing the one window.
They should be able to see it. Yep.
Oh wait, there we go. It was just
actually no, you got a little bit of delay there, Mellow. This is Alice from the original Sega Master System game Phantasy Star. That is, of course, a version of this image from the original game, and that's going to be kind of hard to see. As you can see, she's reasonably well dressed, and if that is not armor plate on her chest, I don't know what is. There's another version of her for I believe that was the that's the PS. Yeah, that's the PS2 one. Okay. Okay. So there's Alice. She is a strong female character in her own right entirely. She is actually the primary protagonist for that game. And she is part of a long history of very strong female characters. Of course, this game's way too old for Anita to actually look at it. You know, despite the fact that she can still get her hands on it just in a couple of different places and in several different ways if she actually wanted to try. So let's do this here. We got a couple more. I'm actually going to swing that back over here for a moment. Still waiting for the Catherine. Oh, that's the wrong window. What am I doing? Where's the window I wanted? Oh, it's actually behind here. Hi. Okay. So, we have a number of other characters now. Let's have a look. This is Alice. She is the female character that is in charge of the group when you start Phantasy Star 4. Okay. This is Demi. She is a nicely dressed female android from the same game. You pick her up as you're leaving the first act. This is Kyra. She originally.
You've just done this, and I can already tell you've put more research in than Anita
This is
did.
Kyra. She is a female character from Act 2. She's also a required party member for a little while, and you have the option of taking her with you for the end, for the final dungeon. Same of Demi and most of the rest of the characters on this page. This is Rika, and she is the only one that has exposed skin, but is to actually be really quick on her feet and nasty with some hand-mounted claws. Okay, so she would need to be able to. She would need that kind of freedom of movement. Okay, and I've got a whole bunch of this.
I can see where you're going with this argument.
This is the argument before the argument, because the argument hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
Right, that's actually one of their advertisements. There's another image of Alice. This character is called Layla. Hello, Catherine.
Hello.
Hi. We're just running through a couple of the counter examples I found in a 3-minute web search, 3-minute or less web search of a particular game series that I happen to recall. Okay.
I found the pictures of the female volleyball volleyball players.
All right.
Yeah, that Anita didn't show on her video.
I actually never thought of that.
Okay.
Yes, I have it ready here. Just let me warn my dad and post the link, the watch link on my feed.
All right.
And then I'm ready. Just give me a couple more minutes since we are already late. Just give me a couple more minutes.
Go for it. We'll be right with you.
Hold on a second. Post here on the side chat the link of the watch for the watch link so that I can post when I come back to the computer.
Hey Adam, how you doing? We're just about ready. We're doing some counter examples first, and then we're gonna have some fun with Feminist Frequency. We're actually gonna get into her video and take it apart some. Oh, okay, a lot.
Not some, a lot.
If we're being honest, it'll be a lot. Okay.
I nearly had a seizure of how much was wrong
What's up
with
with that? So that's the thing. That's the information that she wanted. Yes, we have a little side chat we can use to talk to each other. You're actually gonna watch things as Mellow sees them. You're actually gonna run a little bit of lag here. I don't. Most likely.
Possibly.
I think there's a little bit of lag there. I did try and... Oh, that's right. I know what I was going to do. I was going to set this up for...
Oh, wait, no, I think I can do something about that. I think I can do something about the lag I'm receiving.
So if you see some pauses, just hang with us for a few seconds. We're probably going to it might take a little bit of time here. How's your day been so far, Adam?
Okay.
And in fact, if we have time, I might actually get some counter example. I have some limited counter examples from a couple of games that I've actually that I've played recently. Hey, well, you know what? At least I assume it's over if you're here. So, because this isn't really going to be all that safe for work. There's not going to be any nudity, but there might be quite a bit of swearing. Well, maybe some partial nudity. I don't know. I think most of that is actually on Anita's part, really. All right, outstanding. So, don't want anybody getting into trouble unnecessarily. Let's see, what else do we got? We got some more fun stuff around here somewhere. That's the image I was just looking at. Oh, by the way, just so you guys know, the artwork I'm looking at here, this is Sega's official art. This is Sega's art, not a bunch of fan art. And here is Rika. She's got her big heavy shoulder pads and chest plate, but she's got to be able to move. She's got to be able to move those little legs as fast as possible. As fast as possible to keep her speed up. Okay, so let's have a look at the next page. Where to go? Okay. Phantasy Star 3, that is Miyu. She's actually an android, which I found quite amusing. Here is a picture of all three, of the only three, actually, characters that are considered quote-unquote underdressed. For the entire Phantasy Star series, this would be Nei from Final Fantasy 2, or from Phantasy Star 2, Miyu from Phantasy Star 3, and Rika from Phantasy Star 3. This right here, that's their character designer. Yeah.
It's a woman.
Yeah, the lead character designer for the entire Phantasy Star series was a woman. Okay, and that's a set that goes way back. That's a set that goes way back for a while. Hold on, let's grab.
Do you want to take a look at my pictures first, just to have some giggles before we start?
We're already live, so we're just gonna deal with it here. Let's get a move on here.
What are you doing?
He's looking up something Phantasy Star related.
Right, there we go. For the first game of the series, see that one. Okay, so this game here had a female protagonist, and it first released in 1987. So we're talking about not even 10 years after Pac-Man, and a lot less after Miss Pac-Man. Now, wait a freaking minute. Are we, like, not live or something? No, we're good. Okay. Okay, I was looking at some stats.
We are live.
I was looking at the wrong stat. Okay. Okay. So that's Alice. Okay. These are the three most underdressed, and all three are claw users. They run around having a grand old time, and this nice lady here, that's their character designer. Okay.
Yep.
My expectation is that they were designed with the intention of being able to move freely in their outfits. Okay. Let's see. What else? There's got to be some more down. There's more down here.
Because obviously when you design the costume for a character, you need to be thinking what the costume is that they're adapting to the job of the character
what they need to be, what they're doing, and what they need, and their objectives. Okay. Here is actually, believe it or not, Amy and Anna got their. In the U.S. release, this nice lady was called Amy. She's a doctor, but she's also a combatant. Her purpose is to keep. Her purpose in combat is to keep people cleaned up. This is Sure, and she's a thief. She wears a skirt. So does Amy, for that matter. I'm trying to find. I'm almost certain I've got some pictures of Anna. Okay. There's another character, another primary character. I believe that one's from Phantasy Star Gaiden. Let me check these. Some of these. That's Rolf. We don't need Rolf. Let's see what else we got. And this is one game series, people. Just one. There are others that do this. Here you go. There's a female Force user from Phantasy Star Online. Looks pretty clothed to me. She's not actually supposed. She doesn't actually. She's not actually supposed to be getting up personal with anybody. So her need for serious armor isn't going to be a problem. This is a female hunter from the same game. And this is the female. This is one of the female rangers. Same game. That's all Phantasy Star Online. There's one of the droid characters. Again, same game. This is also a. This is a Newman. This is a Newman Force character. From again the same game. Let's see. Nope. No unrealistic looking people here. Or even unrealistic looking outfits.
Not that I can see.
But that's just the preload. Alright, we ready to go on this video, Catherine?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Just a second to find. I need one more shot of one more character from Phantasy Star 2. Hoping to actually find an actual character shot of her. Let's see, what did I do with it? Yep. Welcome to the stream, Richard. All right.
Hello, Richard.
Okay. Here we go. We have a picture of. Oh, we need a better picture than that. This is Anna. As a character, okay. She was one of the characters from well, I don't know. Well, you see what happened here, church, is that he just started a moral panic. Get back there. Okay. And that actually turned out to be a problem in Japan. That's why we're starting to see. That's why we're starting to see people that have been. We're starting to see games that are getting censored before they come to the West. And it's just it's completely silly and ridiculous. Okay, here we go. Okay, there's Anna again. There's Sure. There's Amy, Nay, and Nay first. Again, I want to see who's actually being exploited here. Hey, Zach, welcome to the stream, man. And Uber, welcome aboard. So, now that we've got some folks running around in here and Catherine's here, let's get on to the main event, shall we? All right.
Go ahead. I'm gonna both love this and hate this at the same time.
All right. The way the rules work for this, we're gonna play Stop the Film. If you have something to say, open up and we'll stop the film.
Is there meant to be audio there?
Stimulating my economy.
Oh, let's run back. Because already the first comment has happened.
There is audio.
My God, look at that.
You guys hearing this?
Oh, that's
I got
definitely stimulating my
I got a bit of audio,
economy,
but
yay.
it's just suddenly stopped.
Okay, this is what?
I got a bit. There's no audio coming out. There's no
Can
audio
you
coming
guys
out.
hear the audio on the stream?
I heard 2 seconds of audio at the
Let me
beginning,
just
but that was it.
let me pull that up and bring my microphone down. Because you should be able to hear. Oh, I think I know why. I think I know why you guys can't hear. It's because my mic's not picking it up. You might actually have to. You might actually have to look at this. Wow, damn. This is kind of a problem. We didn't have this problem the last time. Wait. Now, we're gonna play the male gaze game here for a second. Okay. And this is, of course, what she chooses to open up with. I'm going to shut my hole. If you guys in the stream cannot hear, let me know in text, please. All right. So.
Amazing.
My God, look at that.
Good night. Oh, that's definitely stimulating my economy.
How are you hearing it now? Huh.
Still nothing for me. I got like a second of audio, then about a 3-second pause, then 1 more second of audio, then a pause. All I heard was slight parts of violin music.
Let me just turn that fan off. Okay. This might help. Garbage bags? I think actually they might. See, Anita would probably find that demeaning. Yeah. Oh, Perka.
Okay. Okay, now it's okay.
Oh, apparently the video volume is 3 times louder than us for the stream.
Too loud now.
Oh, I know why.
Too loud now.
I know why. You guys have still got that delay. Okay, let me turn that down.
So how come we can't hear it, but the stream can?
Right. Okay. I'm not 100% sure. All right. Let's try. Let's try that again. I cut the volume in half. So let's see what we got. I'm actually gonna turn. Oh my God, Becky, look at Burka Ninjas. Yep, there we go. Burka Ninjas are fun. There we go. Well, just like that. Okay. All right, let's do this thing. I've actually turned the mic sensitivity and desktop audio completely up. We should be okay.
Okay.
Let me make sure. Let me do one more thing here.
He's not so bad for us, at least. So we're hearing the music, like the video. We don't hear it at all, but apparently we hear you fine. They can hear the video okay, but they can't really hear
all
you.
Right.
We can. I don't understand why we can hear inside, but the stream, but people watching can hear.
I don't have a freaking clue. We'll figure that out in a minute.
If they can hear it, what I might just do is I might just open the video up on one side of the screen, so half my screen's on the half my screen's for the video.
That might be worth it. The link for this video is in the description. All right, let's get this thing haze-graying underway.
Amazing.
My God, look at that.
Good night. Oh, that's definitely stimulating my economy.
How about that, Mellow? Better for you? Huh?
Nope.
Why is that happening? I don't know. I can't tell. All right. So, definitely stimulating his economy. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right. So, are you hearing the? Okay, I know he can hear the video, so we should be okay there.
Catherine, are you hearing the video?
Catherine, you actually hear the video normally?
All right.
All right. Let's carry on. This is
Right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open
we
up
have
here.
the nice lady coming down. We have the nice lady coming down the stairs with her nipples covered. I'm gonna plug some. Don't mind the thing in the background. It's strapped down and it's not appreciating it. All right, we are currently at
Yeah.
8 seconds for you there, Mellow.
8 seconds, okay. Right, I'm at the point.
Okay. Right. Feminist Frequency. This is her first mistake. Really.
Yeah, second season.
Well, it should have
shouldn't
happened
happen.
that she did the fighting fuck toy video like she was supposed to. She promised us 13 distinct episodes, but by the time all of her stretch goals were done in the original Kickstarter, and she didn't even cover half of them, and she's not going to cover half of them because she took 3 videos and an hour to talk about the very first topic only. Actually, more than an hour. Some of those were well in excess. Yeah, okay, Zach, I got you.
Yeah.
This was her first mistake actually was this here to begin with. We won't go into the history of how she managed to blow up quite so popular. We're just going to listen to her yammer for a minute, probably less.
And I took my notes and I have lots of comments.
What we're probably going to do is stop the video about every 20 seconds or so, 20, 30 seconds, and discuss.
Probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, the montage. Quiet.
Oh, look.
Lara
Pause
Croft.
the video.
Lingerie is not armor. No, who said it was armor? You know, the only time you see "quote unquote" lingerie as armor is when you're in high fantasy situations where you have magic-y stuff, or you have some other reason they might not want to wear actual armor.
In the late 90s, developer Rare wanted to replicate the success of their landmark 1997 shooter GoldenEye, but didn't want to make another James Bond game. Instead, they began work on a science fiction spy thriller called Perfect Dark.
Now, Perfect Dark was in fact an attempt by Rare to balance GoldenEye with another character with a female protagonist as opposed to James Bond. That they couldn't actually get the rights to do a second GoldenEye game or another James Bond game, so they decided they were just going to go They were just going to go off to the side and do their own damn thing. Since they already had a good chunk of the code they needed, all they needed to do was build more levels and some new character models. It was actually a pretty sweet deal for Rare.
For the game's star, they wanted to create a striking new type of special agent who wouldn't just live in James Bond's shadow. So they drew inspiration from figures ranging from Joan of Arc to the X-Files' Dana Scully.
First off, the Dana Scully thing is true. I have no reference. I can find no evidence that Rare ever considered Joan of Arc. The idea of a female investigator, X-Files style, was actually a thing. They had several other characters they did with that, but Joan of Arc was not actually part of their process. This is bad research on Anita's part. Triple checked. I don't think so. Well, Jetty the Sunfish here. Welcome to the stream, by the way. She does that so that she doesn't have to see all of the negative feedback that she's getting because her, triple checked and deep research is debunked time and again. I mean, Thunderfoot's it has started making a career out of this woman. Yes,
Her
it
name was
was.
Joanna Dark. A few years earlier, Eidos Interactive's Lara Croft had rapidly become one of the most famous and recognizable
Also
game characters
true,
of all time.
mostly. Yeah, Anita doing research. Anita can't even play her own games.
I have one thing to say about that she said
Well,
about
the commercials actually, I think, next up.
Commercials up next.
But please note that she's complaining about the way some of these female characters are dressed in this video. Look at what she's wearing. Okay, here is an open shoulder. Here's an uncovered shoulder. Here's an uncovered shoulder. You see a bit of the bra strap here. Look at these gender signifiers. We have the great big earrings, not hoops this time. I'm impressed. The penciled on eyebrows, the lipstick that has not been completely applied, and of course the red hair dye.
And she needs urgently to address her eyebrows. I cannot stress enough that she needs a stylist for her eyebrows. Her eyebrows are atrocious.
Okay, but it's okay for her to show off her assets, but not Lara Croft. I'm good with that. Actually, believe it or not,
No.
if you want freedom of movement, this is actually not a bad thing to wear. Maybe long pants and sleeves, but still.
And she has two colored hair. Her hair is two colored.
Yes, it is colored. I was just saying that.
She can. Two hair and two different hair colors. She can.
Actually, I think this outer color is actually her original color. She was wearing this color. This other color was part of her hair dye routine when she appeared at the UN.
No, this is done on purpose.
So it was reasonable to think that an action game with a female protagonist could
be a
smash hit.
Female, we've had several smash hit video games that have had female protagonists. Phantasy Star. Anybody remember I said something about that? I was just talking about Phantasy Star just a little while ago.
And this is what she has on her hair is very expensive.
Actually, we're going to get to that, Richard. Okay. Okay, back to the video.
Alas, Joanna Dark never quite reached the levels of fame occupied by Lara Croft, but Perfect Dark was still a big success. You admit that
Perfect Dark was a success. No, Joanna Dark didn't get as popular, but then they only really made 2 games out of her. And if they made as many games as quickly as they had Lara Croft, and did a little bit more about showing the avatar on the screen as opposed to straight first person, probably would have gone a lot better.
By the way, I love that moment that you have paused right there.
She's thinking about her next lie. That's what it is. Okay. On with the commercial.
Yeah.
She has to think about it for a moment because, well, yeah.
Let's take a look at a commercial for the game.
We're going to let the whole commercial run and then we're going to talk about it. Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, because I have a lot to say about it.
Welcome to 2023. Big businesses now merge with alien nations. An ancient war is being fought under the sea. The president is about to be cloned. And it's your job to try and save the world. So you've got an important decision to make. What are you going to wear to work? From the team who brought you GoldenEye for N64, meet Special Agent Joanna Dark in Perfect Dark, where you'll find out that the only person man enough to handle a job like this is a woman.
Okay. Okay. So
Go ahead. Don't stop here.
that is the commercial she's getting ready
Who's
to
gonna
pull,
go first?
ready to kind of lightly shred, because she really doesn't make any arguments. First off, this is
Yes.
Joanna getting up in the freaking morning. Don't you put your underwear on before you put after the shower? I mean, really?
Of course. No, we walk around naked and we don't think about our clothes. We just open and blindly pick anything.
I mean, the only women I've ever met that don't spend a whole bunch of time agonizing over what they're going to wear to work are the ones that don't have very much in terms of clothing. Okay, that's just a thing. It's not necessarily a female thing. I've seen guys like that
And
too.
also,
Okay,
the thing is, she's talking about picking apart video game characters for being over sexualized, but that thing isn't even in the game. It's a commercial.
Yeah, she's shredding the commercial because the woman has a mission and she's thinking about what clothes she's going to
well,
wear for
and
that
they don't, and you know, they
for
really
that
don't pay all that
mission.
much.
Wow!
Here's the better
If
part.
I,
They don't even pay that much attention to the clothes. They're actually they spent more time on the weapons. You get
Oh yeah.
about a half a second of a pair of black panties, which is pretty much just the whole establishment of the whole story. The what are you gonna wear to work? They're actually talking from what they put up on the screen. They were more concerned with with their kit going out to go blow shit up.
But in Anita's case, the underwear was the main highlight of that commercial.
yes,
And
exactly.
Jetty the Sunfish here, Jetty makes a point. The only person man enough to save the world is a woman. She took a pass on that. And I'm not surprised. This is the usual cherry picking from Anita. This is the thing that she will do, and she will do happily, just as long as she thinks she can make some other point about that. Now she's going to do this now she's going to kind of do this in reverse, and it's actually going to be hilarious.
Yeah, she's acting like she's thinking she's been, yeah, I'm gonna take shots at this, yeah, everyone's gonna love it. But then it just turns into a terrible result.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on here.
Can you imagine an ad exactly like this, only with Marcus Phoenix or Master Chief getting out of bed naked, taking a sexy slow motion shower, putting on his sexy underwear, and the narrator saying that he has an important decision to make?
I
What is he
honestly
gonna
think
wear to work?
that kind of an advertisement done correctly could be hilarious, and I'm pretty sure there's at least one woman out there that would just go nuts over it, especially Master Chief
No.
or Marcus Phoenix.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't know about
Okay.
anybody else, but the first thing I do when I get up is change my freaking underpants. Please, you could do this.
Okay. She says that a commercial like that would never happen, nor should
You know what? I think it
it.
actually should. If we're being honest, something like that
Yeah.
probably not go very well with a lot of the gamer guys, but damn, you get enough gamer girls.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not.
But I have a question. Because I actually know some people. She believes, for some very personal reasons, that the only people that play video games
Yeah, she's
are
going to get
straight
into that here a little
males.
bit. Young straight
Yeah,
white males. Now,
that's what I
Yeah.
was
Jenny
gonna
the
explain.
Sunfish over here has made a prediction. And we're going to see if that actually bears out, because yes, Jetty is correct. They do exist. They're just not as frequent as one might think.
Welcome to 2016. There's a war out there. somewhere. You're not sure where exactly. Anyway, the important thing is you're Special Agent Jake Grimshadow. It's your job to save the world. The only question is, what are you going to wear? Wait, what? What?
Okay.
Yeah, she's completely missed the
Completely.
point of that.
And she put this up as
Yeah,
she
what
puts
are
this
you
up as
going
actually
away?
a separate video on her channel, no less. Which I
Oh,
find
yeah.
hilarious in and of itself.
She thought it was so good that it deserved its own
So when
video.
she says that a commercial like that would never happen, nor should it, this is a sexist
Yeah.
statement,
Very.
Anita.
Now, hey, we haven't even. We'll get to that part in a
Oh,
second. This here is an intentional. This is a parody of what of the Joanna Dark one.
Yes, it's a
And
parody.
unfortunately, this is it. She didn't even do it. She didn't even do it the right way. Okay. We didn't actually see shots of Joanna taking her shower all that much. So yeah. On top of that, it was actually shorter. So. Moving on, we're less than 3 minutes in and we're almost an hour into the stream now, so we're going to move on here just a little bit.
A commercial like that would never happen, nor
That
should
is so
it.
that is so thoroughly sexist. I don't even know what to say.
Yes, her statement was extremely sexist for someone who spends all her time saying that everything is sexist.
Yeah, but she missed the point of the source. She's completely missed the point of the source material. There's lots and lots and lots of very well-dressed female characters, I might add. A lot of which are protagonists. Joanna Dark's outfit for Perfect Dark, when you're in the multiplayer, it's actually it's actually concealing and practical. Just for a start. But the word is that sex sells both to men and to women, regardless of who's actually out front. Well, actually, really, sexy men stuff really does sell to women because it's the women that are buying for their men.
Yeah.
But Joanna is treated differently than her male counterparts. Even though Perfect Dark is a first-person shooter, and as a result you rarely see her in the game itself, by focusing on her getting dressed does add encourage players to think of Joanna's appeal as being rooted in her sexual desirability.
Okay, first off, she says one thing that is true here, and that's that it's a first-person shooter. We're not going to see it if we only ever play single player. The fact that she has an outfit at all should be kind of impressive. Okay, but
if it's a first-person shooter, there's no point in picking on the character design if you're not even going to see the character.
Well, Richard, when you think about it, in her little brain, sexism against men isn't possible. I don't know, Zach. That could be. That could very well be.
Maybe.
But then I just sent her to watch the Watchmen film. There's lots of blue penis in that.
Rather than her skill as a special agent. A character's clothing is one of the first things we notice. It's an important part of our first impression of who that character is, and as such, it's a way for designers to immediately communicate to players what is most important and noteworthy about them.
Partially true. Okay, this is actually partially true. Yes, you do communicate something about the character through the clothing that they wear. However, this doesn't necessarily indicate how desirable you're expected to find them. She's finished the first Godzilla-sized straw man, and now she's moving on to the next 10, all at the same time. I don't know. It seems that Anita kicked Jonathan McIntosh to the curb well over a year ago. So it could just be that she's grasping at straws at this point. But again, I need to miss the point. Okay, if I walk down the street pushing a stroller in a $3,000 Armani suit, and that would actually be cheap for an Armani, what is that actually communicating about me? What does that communicate about me? That I'm gonna walk down the street with a stroller in front of me and a kid in shorts and a polo shirt and no shoes because he doesn't like wearing them. But I'm wearing a $3,000 or I'm wearing a horrifyingly expensive Armani suit. About me as a person.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually.
Are you asking anyone in
I'm
particular, or is it a
I'm
rhetorical
asking
one?
everyone in general, and I actually did. The question was not rhetorical. What would that say about me?
That would show that you are really, like, arrogant towards your kid for making him wear such simple clothing when you're walking around with a $3,000 suit.
What was your question?
If I put on an Armani suit, put Colby in the stroller, and went down from here, the 4 blocks to the school to go get the other kid, who is in a plaid button down and jeans, what would that say about me?
I don't know.
What does that say about me as a human being? Yeah, well,
It shows that
does.
you're a
It
terrible
shows that I'm
person.
an arrogant. It would show that I'm an arrogant dick that gives more of a shit about himself than his kids.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yes.
I'm going to go to the school in jeans and a ready T-shirt today, like I do most days. Kids are better dressed than I am. That's just the way things are. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you see a woman on a beach in a bikini, what does that say?
Well, that she's having a great time.
That she's kicking
She's
back on the
wearing
beach. She wants to work
she's-
on her tan and maybe go hit the surf. Okay. If you saw a woman like that walking, if you saw a woman dressed in exactly the same way walking down a street in the middle of a city, what would you say?
Yeah, that she's improperly dressed because you don't wear bikini walking
Some
down the
places
street.
you will.
Every place has its proper clothing.
Number of women put on a bikini top, a string bikini top, and a pair of shorts over the bikini bottoms and walk down a street, sandals.
Yes.
Or put on a little wrap thing, and they're fine.
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay.
Maybe this is a woman that wants to show off. Maybe she's good. She's on her way back. Maybe she had to stop off and buy some fucking sunscreen. You don't know. You can't make those judgments, and 90% of people don't. Hey,
Hello.
what's going on, Hired?
Hi, how's it going?
How goes the world?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong. But I live here in Rio. People dress completely different here, and
now
that's okay.
Let's change it up one more time. Let's take the same woman, put her on that street, dead of winter, the same clothing.
In the same clothing.
But people here in Rio, for example, let's go back. Let's get the context. People go to the beach here in Rio in the winter.
Right. And that's fine. They
So the same thing
okay.
would happen.
So
That's fine.
let's put this in Chicago in the middle of winter. Okay, what would you
Well,
think
still
of
by the
what
same
would
token.
you think about it? What would you think about a woman that is walking down the street in a bikini with sandals?
well,
winter
it's
in
her
Chicago.
choice. It's her choice to froze to death
Okay.
in Chicago in the winter. But
Personally, I would think she was an
There
idiot
you
and belonged
go.
in a lunatic asylum.
Okay.
yeah, it's her choice to froze
This
to
is the
death.
thing that Anita, and that's where I was going with that. What Anita fails to take into account is any level of context. Okay, she makes that statement and provides
Yeah,
no
but
context whatsoever.
I don't think that it's sexist. I don't think that it's sexist. I just think that the woman in bikini in the winter in Chicago, she's crazy, but not that she's sexist or that there is something inherently wrong
Exactly.
with her clothing. I think that she's in the wrong place to wear that kind of clothes
Right.
because of the
Exactly so.
weather and not because
Now
of the
let's
clothes.
let Anita hang herself some more.
Female heroes in video games might be special agents or soldiers or treasure
Well,
hunters
I
by
think she's
trade.
been lately where in the
All right, hang
United
on a
Nations.
second.
I don't know.
Let's go back here. Okay. As the video has started again. Okay. All right, starting video.
What is most important and noteworthy about them. Female heroes in video games might be special agents or soldiers or treasure hunters by trade. They often find themselves in dangerous, physically demanding situations, fighting off bad guys and saving the world. They are typically performing activities that call for practical or protective clothing. But when we look at the types of outfits that female characters are made to wear, we can see that they're both sexualized and completely absurd.
Sexualized and
Yeah.
completely absurd.
She's saying that they need to be covered up for doing the
Yep, we
activities
should
that they
wrap
need
up.
to do. She's saying they need to be
Well,
covered up
you
for
know
the
what? It
activities they
depends
need
on
to do.
the activity in question, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, the two characters that she was showing up there, she was showing Lara Croft and I've forgotten what her name is off Mortal Kombat.
I want to say that's Jill that's Jill Valentine from the Biohazard series.
Alright, so she's showing Lara Croft and Jill Valentine. Right, so Jill Valentine's in a fighting game, Lara Croft's in an adventure
that's a
platformer.
Resident Evil. That's a
Lara
Resident
Croft,
Evil character. She's not a. It's not a fighting game. That's a. She's looking
which
at a
one?
Resident Evil character. So you're talking about a. So you're talking
Oh,
about
right,
a
she's looking
horror
at
game.
Right, so a survival horror shooter.
And a platforming shooter.
Okay. And a platforming shooter. Right. So for platforming, that sort of outfit, I can understand. They need to be agile. They need to go up, climb everything around, make jumps. That I can understand.
Okay. If you've got to be able to get to your weapons in a hurry, you don't want to have 5 layers of clothing on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and Richard brings up a valid point here. He is correct. That is the model of Lara Croft from Tomb Raider Legends, as well as Tomb Raider Underworld. It was, I think, the same model or very similar. And she does have several outfits for that game. Okay, Anita just happened to select the one that is that is most sexualized. Jill, that version of Jill Valentine, if I remember correctly, is from Biohazard 6, and that game was just ridiculous to begin with.
I'm pretty sure you could even change the clothing if you completed the game at certain points as well, couldn't you?
Since all of the Biohazard games, starting with 2, had alternate outfits even. So you're just really this is one more friggin' straw man using these two in particular because that's the way the cherry picking makes it look the worst. However, Anita continues.
Absurd. Ivy from the Soul Calibur games is a bold warrior who finds herself in battles where sharp, deadly weapons are being used, and protective armor would be a must. But the clothing she wears, or lack thereof, is not exactly intended to keep her safe.
First off, Ivy would need something in terms of freedom of movement, and number two, whatever. It's if they don't actually, these games don't actually show any kind of realistic injury any damn way. So what the hell are you bitching about? Yeah, and most of the female characters in any of the Resident Evil games, they're
Exactly, Jelly. Exactly.
they're actually very well dressed. I mean, look at Claire from Resident Evil 2. She was completely dressed top to bottom.
Cammy from the Street Fighter series is a British Special Forces operative whose thong leotard does a better job of calling attention to her butt than of offering any kind of protection.
And here we go with the here we go with the whole women with the whole women's butts thing. I don't know what it is. She seems to have a thing for butts.
Yeah. Well, people love my butt. I don't have a problem with that.
And of course, she's got two female characters on the screen, one of which is actually dressed completely, but she's focusing on Cammy right now, so we're going to do that.
Jessica Sharawat from Resident Evil Revelations is a member of the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance and regularly faces deadly infected
This I just
combat,
found ridiculous.
But her outfits appear to be designed for...
Okay,
I don't
that's
even
because
know.
you're not paying attention, Anita. You don't know because you're not paying attention. Now, here's her whole problem. This character's outfit, for some reason, is lacking a leg.
Impractical and objectifiable clothing.
What was that?
Impractical and objectifiable clothing.
Yeah.
That's what she says.
And apparently this sort of outfit where she's completely covered except for one leg
Of course it
goes
is,
into that sort of category.
because it's actually nice and tight. You know, never mind. She's got a big ass chest plate on her. She's got an aqua lung around her neck, a nice gun.
Also, would you count that as lingerie?
I don't actually. Honestly, we don't see much in terms
Exactly.
of lingerie in the entire video. We will get a piece of it here a little bit.
Except for those panties in the commercial, I haven't seen lingerie up to now.
I'm sure we'll find it eventually.
I'm actually not even going to count that because that was in a commercial and not the game itself.
Yes.
No, apparently it works. Apparently it's valid because it was connected to a video game. All right, moving on.
And this is just a small fraction of the vast number of female characters who are forced into impractical and objectifying clothing.
First off, nobody has forced anyone into anything, Anita. Nobody. Okay?
In dangerous situations.
You will learn respect.
Okay, this is one of my favorite characters for Smashing the Battle.
There's your game.
That is the state of her clothing is actually explained in game, no less. And when we first see this character, she's completely covered in overalls, big bulky overalls. Okay, this game was actually made. Yeah.
Yeah, but it emphasizes her huge boobs and nipples. Yeah. No can do.
You know, heavens forfend anybody should have large breasts. Really. Okay.
That's one thing that she says that I find freaking funny. She says hypersexualization of female characters makes everything else about the character is made secondary.
I'm just wanting to bring.
So she's talking about characters. So
the thing is, they're not my. See, Jenny.
So she's talking about hypersexualization of fictional females.
Okay.
Want to bring
What
something up
worries
real
her
quick.
so much about fictional female characters?
Actually, this one here was this, Richard.
Why?
In
I'm just wanting
this
to bring
one,
some.
And then she goes, games blur the distinction between the female sexualization and male power. And as a result, a sexualized female character is something celebrated for being perceived for only their sexuality in a way that is empowering.
okay.
This is word
I'm
salad.
not, okay, hang on. We'll get back to that in just a minute. Richard has a point here. Forrest is not even in the
Okay.
storyline, if applicable. In this case, in this one case, it was, and that's because the armor she's wearing wasn't designed for her, and therefore it didn't all fit.
I just wanted to bring up something that Catherine said before about Anita saying that everything about the character is made as the primary point and everything else in the game is made secondary. Now, you've shown me gameplay of this multiple times through the game roundup and on the top 5 list. And I've looked at that character and that has not made me go out and buy the game. I don't like hack and slash, so I've never picked it up. In my opinion, the gameplay still stands strong if I'm wanting to pick up a product.
Okay.
So how come everything else about the character and the game is secondary? She misses the entire point.
Now, let's go on.
You're a fool to come back here.
Fist of the North Star, X-Blades, Dragon's Crown.
All right, let's begin.
Victory. And instead of donning a breastplate, you dash into battle, shirt open, navel and whatnot exposed.
The last thing here was for Witcher 3, and that character is known. That particular character is known for the kind of behavior she's displaying there. Okay, she's known for being ridiculous, and that's fine. It's actually part of the character. Okay.
Because clothing can shape our first impressions of a character and has a tremendous influence on our sense of who they are every time they're on screen, sexualized outfits can contribute to what's called the hypersexualization of female characters.
Like there's never been a hypersexualized male character. How about any one of a number of shirtless male characters that appear in fighting games?
With those huge abs and biceps and everything that are awesome.
Wow. But it's what she calls the hypersexualization of female characters. See, the thing is, what she calls it is irrelevant, but I have yet to see an actual an actually established trope here. In fact, TV Tropes has gotten so annoyed with people trying to register tropes that she's naming her quote-unquote tropes that she's naming herself, that they've just banned any kind of discussion about that shit. Okay, Ms. Male character got shot, was shot dead almost immediately. Women as background decoration, shot dead on the spot. The damsel in distress was already a trope used in an entirely different way, and they started putting up examples from FemFreak video, from those 3 FemFreak videos on it, and they were shot dead. Most of them for having already been registered. But every time she decides she's going to try and define something,
her definition here is that the sexuality of this character that these characters exudes is manufactured and presented for and existing for the presumed male straight player. So she's making an assumption on her bias because she wants to, and because she has money
if she
to
doesn't
do
make that
this.
assumption, she doesn't have an
Because
argument, to be perfectly honest with you.
It's a perfect word salad that she's saying here.
But yeah, again, if she doesn't make these assumptions, she doesn't even have a fucking argument. All right, we're actually going to get to that bit here in just a couple of minutes. We're only 5 minutes in and an hour down, so we're looking at this is going to take a while.
Hypersexualization in the media occurs when a character is designed to be valued primarily for their sexual characteristics.
That is your definition of it, Anita. Most people just say it is video game characters. I'll be honest with you. My wife plays some of these games, and some of these games that have been displayed here, and she has yet to issue any kind of a problem with any of it. Okay, if she actually was okay with the credential.
No, just look at her and these two female fictional characters. Who would you choose? I choose the fictional character. I wouldn't bank her even if you paid me.
Who choose to what?
Okay. She lays out a definition here, and here in a minute she's going to violate it really bad.
In hypersexualized characters, these attributes are highlighted above all else and made the center of attention.
When you look at Ivy here, what do you see? What is the thing that draws the eye?
I see a video game. I see a video game character
with a whip sword.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This looks like it could be a really interesting weapon to try and use. Oh, goody. I'm actually going to have to go look at that video. I'll look at the Cold Hard Logic video once we get done here. Anybody that hasn't seen it, watch that after the stream.
While everything else about the character is made secondary.
Bayonetta in a full robe, now about to...
Yeah, I like the expression that she used, how the camera caresses her body.
You're still ahead of the video. You're still ahead of the video. Let's get this bit underway. Let her actually say it before we bash her for it.
Games and other media often work to frame this sexualization as a positive thing for women. They blur the distinction between female sexualization and female power. And as a result, sexualized female characters are sometimes celebrated for being perceived as owning their sexuality in a way that's empowering.
First off, owning your sexuality can be very empowering. Okay? She also fails to note that the designer of Bayonetta did this on purpose. That designer, Japanese woman. She just actually, to be perfectly honest, she pulled that word hypersexualized out of her ass. Okay.
Yeah.
Bayonetta is a...
Well, half the stuff she said has been...
she pulled that term completely out of her ass, and that has nothing to do with the freaking lingerie not being armor thing. She hasn't even really talked about the lingerie yet. She won't for a little while. But if you look at Bayonetta, she's covered all up. Okay. Yeah. No skin showing that isn't on her face. Okay. She's even got
some guns attached to her legs.
Guns on. I mean, what's up with this? You would think with Bayonetta's attitude, Anita would just be would be worshiping the ground it walks on.
But it isn't actually
that looks like a really cool game
the sexuality
design.
These characters exude is manufactured for and presented as existing for the presumed straight male player.
Now, this is actually the point she's trying to work up to. She spent the last 5.5 minutes yammering on about their background stuff to say that she wants to really get to the person the people she really wants to attack. Okay, the developers for pandering to a presumed straight white male audience. Okay, first off, I know a number of lesbians that would do Bayonetta in a tick, and I know a lot of men that would say, okay, I don't want to be doing this on a stepladder, let's move on. Bayonetta is deliberately exaggerated, and her character reflects it. And that has been the case in both games in which Bayonetta has appeared.
Bayonetta is a quintessential example of such a character. When the camera caresses her body as it does in the opening scene of Bayonetta 2, establishing the player's relationship with the character, she's frozen in time, the passive object of the male gaze.
Male gaze, there's another one she likes to abuse. But we're not quite done here. Let's finish up this segment, then we can chew her to pieces.
The camera is putting her and Jean on display for the player, breaking them down into what the game is communicating is most important about them. There's sexualized parts.
First off, women have parts. Women have parts that are very noticeable. Okay.
And apparently that's sexist somehow.
Well, the
by
fact that
just
women have
including
breasts
that.
is enough for Anita that can actually be spotted outside of clothing. That's apparently enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently.
But most gamers that I know are not nearly as interested with what the character looks like nearly as much as they are with how the character handles. And yes, Richard, she's actually using shaming. She's using shaming command language with the intent to make us feel bad.
Yes.
About what we want to watch and what we want to play. Okay, and yes, Jetty, you're correct. I don't know. I would think I know. Like I said a minute ago, I know some women that would do Bayonetta in a tick. Why? Because those long legs would be horrifyingly useful in some situations.
I know. Hardgun says she doesn't have a problem with the maze because she isn't fighting for equality. Of course she isn't.
Yeah. She's actually fighting for female dominance by means of shaming our half of the species into not doing what she doesn't like.
And when Bayonetta starts moving, it's the player who has the power to control her sexuality as a weapon throughout the game, both literally and figuratively.
That's why she is so worried with women being perceived as sexualized. She doesn't want women to be comfortable in their sexual roles. That's the entire point. She doesn't want women to feel comfortable in being in touch with their inner sexual self. She wants them to be robots.
They're not. I don't know any woman that would put up with that shit. But she says the player is in control of Bayonetta's sexuality. No. Sexuality is built into the character because that's what the character was designed to do. Okay. Bayonetta, from concept to design to modeling, was almost entirely handled by women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the player is not in control of her sexuality. The player is in control of her big-ass hammer and guns.
She has an assortment of special
That's why she's bashing
which involve
the
devices
developers.
meant to suggest BDSM and look like something you might expect to.
I think I started the video just here on the early side for you there. Okay, hold on. We have to run that section. Yeah, we control her. We as players control her sexuality. Oh, hired gun. There's a reason these games are rated mature, Anita, and you aren't mature enough to play these yet. Yeah, I'm afraid I have to agree.
She has an assortment
Yeah.
of special moves called torture attacks, which involve devices meant to suggest BDSM and look like something you might expect to see in an exaggerated stereotype of a sex dungeon.
First off, they're called torture attacks. Yeah, you're probably gonna find a guillotine or six somewhere. And I fail to see where BDSM is a problem as long as everybody's consenting. Anybody else have a problem with BDSM? As long as it's done in something, as long as it's done consensually and not out in public.
No.
No.
But these sexualized moves have nothing to do with sex. They just obliterate her enemies. And a number of her attacks literally leave her naked, because, you see, she's attacking the enemies with her hair, and her hair is also her clothing, so when she's using her hair to attack her enemies, it can't be covering her body, and...
And you are trying to show disgust. All I'm
can't
seeing
even
at
be-
this point is confusion. First off, let's clip it back just a second.
All I'm saying
Or
is...
6. Does that look like she's attacking this enemy with her hair? Does that look like she's naked? Really?
Oh, no.
No.
Hired gun here also
She's
makes a
not
valid
naked.
point. Game companies are going to continue to poop out what sells, and sex does sell. Sex has always sold. But
I like the size she makes here.
She's attacking the
When
enemies with her
when
hair,
she's using
and her
her
hair is
hair
also
to
her
attack
clothing.
her
So when she's
enemies,
using
she
her hair to
can't be
attack her enemies, it
using
can't be
to
covering her
cover
body,
her
and...
body and
that's because
Oh,
she
my
can't seem to work. She can't
All
seem
I'm
to work
seeing-
out exactly how that paradox works. For starters, even what?
All I'm seeing is someone starting a point and being
Yeah, she
bothered to finish
barely
it.
bothered to finish her sentence. What she was here's the thing. There is on any human body that is left to do what it's going to do on its own, there are at least 3 sources of hair. Okay? Head, underarms, and crotch. A lot of and there are some women, there are some people that have hairy butts, hairy backs. Most of the men I know have hairy fronts too.
and there is nothing empowering with the fact that they are sexually objectified.
And a sex dungeon with a guillotine. Really.
Yeah.
And then she actually equates the torture attacks to sex, and goes on to say, well, but they're not actually about sex. They're about obliterating her enemies. Well, yes, they are. It wasn't about sex to begin with. It was about kicking the ass off her enemies. Now, I'm going to start the video again here, because she's just taking her breath to start her next abomination.
Mm-hmm.
In these ways, the game deliberately links Bayonetta's sexuality
Yeah, exactly.
to power, selling a version
Jealous
of
is
sexual
something
objectification
that I
that
also like how she says the sexualized moves have nothing to do with sex. She just ruined her own crappy argument.
I'm going to do the video starting thing again. Yeah, Anita actually does pwn herself if you actually stop and look at what she's doing.
In these ways, the game deliberately links Bayonetta's sexuality to power, selling a version of sexual objectification that we're all supposed to feel good about and find empowering. Every aspect of Bayonetta's existence, from the way the camera is magnetically drawn to her sexualized body parts to the pole dance reward for completing the game, is expertly designed to be sexually affirming and satisfying for a presumed straight
There's
male
her straight
audience.
male audience again. Okay. Now, she keeps talking about sexualized body parts. What are sexualized body parts? You have not defined this term. I assume that you're going to mean breasts, butts, and crotch. Okay. Also, that drinking game is not going to work. Hired, everybody would be dead inside of 5 minutes. Okay. Yep, it is actually a lore thing where witches were known to use hair in incantations. Actually, that is a lore thing that actually goes back to actual witch lore. You get somebody's hair. Voodoo lore does the same thing.
I'm amazed that we're only 7 minutes into the video and we're about an hour and a half
We
in.
might actually have to break this into a second part. I don't know. In Victorian England, ankles were in fact were ankles and wrists. Those were really big things. If you could see those, wow, you could pull a stiffy just by thinking about that.
If it seems like I'm frequently repeating the fact that the player is presumed to be a straight male, that's because it's vital to remember. This presumption influences and shapes so many creative decisions that are made in the development of many games.
Okay. Now she's going to go into a montage. Now she's going to go through a whole set of them. We're going to go through each sequence, and we're going to look at it for what it actually is. But she's again poking at that presumed straight male audience. Why she's doing this, I don't know, because this next scene especially is one that I know a lot that I've seen repeated in a great many bedrooms over a great many years, by women. Most women, I think, can actually sympathize with what is going to happen here. Not necessarily completely in its context, but the activity will be familiar to them. Also note that she's behind a screen. We can't actually see her. We can't actually see her all that well. Okay. Your target audience, your demographics do in fact influence your decision making as far as game design. It is not the only factor, but it is a factor. Remember Me did quite well, despite the fact that the producers thought it was going to be a male protagonist. It did really well, as a matter of fact. Not because there was a female involved, but because it was an action game that was well written and well assembled. Now watch.
Let's see. Target market mostly male, 18 to 24 years old. Interests: senseless violence, high-tech weaponry, pain, humiliation. Hey, maybe this will do the trick.
Oh, I think I'm gonna crash.
This is a woman deciding who she wants to decide to attract. Okay, if she's trying to attract if a woman, and every woman that I've ever met, if she's trying to attract attention from a specific group of people, she's gonna wear what she thinks they might like, assuming she has it in her closet. Very rare is the woman that does not do that, to a greater or lesser degree. Okay, she says presumed because she doesn't have actual demographic information for these games, and she doesn't actually have any kind of data about who's actually buying the games. Okay. So you could keep talking, Anita. You're really not getting yourself anywhere, and in fact, you've been digging that hole. You're way past the point of China, where you're right now building up speed to hedge your ass off to Alpha Centauri.
Of course, characters like Bayonetta are a fictional fantasy, but in reality, we exist in a culture where women are often valued primarily for their sexual desirability to men. So while characters like these are incredibly powerful in the physical sense, able to slay entire armies and bring down gods, there's nothing empowering about the fact that they are sexually objectified.
So many layers of wrong. So many layers. Okay? There are ogres out there that are fucking jealous of the number of layers of just sheer wrong that just radiates off that attempt at it.
She brings up an attempt of an argument and then counters that same argument she made up seconds later.
Okay? It's just... It makes you... Okay. Now I'm the one that's going to have to sigh and just look disgusted because, I don't actually have to say anything here.
Because you're not sure how to end it.
We're halfway. We're actually not even quite. We're not quite to the halfway point.
We aren't halfway until we get to 8
and we're at
20.
7:47 right now.
Can you stop
Alright,
there?
so that means
There is nothing empowering with the fact that they are sexually objectified, and she has stressed that she's talking about fictional female characters.
We got fictitious male characters that are over sexualized too.
So she is aware that she's talking about fictional female characters, and then she yes. So she starts saying that she's talking about fictional female characters, and then she finishes that there's nothing empowering with the fact that they are sexually objectified. Make up your mind.
She seems to think that these things have a tangible result in society at large. She's making the argument similar to that of violence in video games, which has been repeatedly and thoroughly debunked.
Yeah, actually, it's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite. She doesn't understand the first thing. She doesn't understand the thing.
She doesn't understand a thing because she hasn't done a research
she has to be able
to
to play these games first. She's got somebody to play them for her, I'm sure. Okay.
She's probably got a guy to do it, knowing what she's been saying before.
Yeah.
And what she's doing here, she's using shaming and command language to try and make us feel guilty for liking things like this.
But that's the point. She doesn't understand in her tiny mind, and the other feminists like her don't understand that what is beautiful, male or female or anything in between, whatever, I don't fucking care. What is beautiful? It's to be appreciated.
Yeah.
And she doesn't get the distinction that humans are sexual
she actually,
beings.
in her very first video, we're actually going to get to those because we're going to start doing these in order for some of these afternoon streams, or we're going to start doing that probably for the foreseeable future.
She's so worried with her sociology. She forgets that there is a subject called sexuality.
It's the study of sex.
Whatever. There is a branch of psychology that studies sex, and human beings enjoy sex. This is normal. Anita, sex is normal.
Catherine, she doesn't care.
It's good.
She wants everybody to be like her, and then not that. Okay, we're gonna move on here real quick because we've only got about an hour left and we're not even halfway through.
Yeah.
In fact, this connection between objectification and empowerment is extremely damaging. It's harmful to women because rather than asserting that women have
one thing, we will be able to finish
I don't think so.
Today?
I keep having to restart here. So hang on. Okay, restarting the video now.
In fact, this connection between objectification and empowerment is extremely damaging. It's harmful to women because rather than asserting that women have intrinsic value as people, it communicates that the kind of power available to women comes from men finding them desirable.
Okay. The power that they have available comes from men finding them desirable. No, I think Hillary Clinton is actually a counterexample here. I don't know any man that isn't Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton doesn't really find her all that desirable, that actually does find Hillary Clinton desirable, and yet she's and yet the Associated Press and the Democratic National Committee are screaming from the rooftops that she's their nominee. Right. Yeah, women don't have power unless somebody finds them desirable. Whatever.
And is damaging to
Hold
men.
on, Catherine.
Yeah,
It suggests that
Richard
women
brings a
Hold on,
point
Catherine.
here. If humans,
Because she wasn't quite finished.
yeah. Oh,
Listen.
value as people, it communicates that the kind of power available to women comes from men finding them desirable. And is damaging to men because it suggests that women who are liberated and empowered are also women whose sexuality is always available to men.
It's also damaging to men because women who are liberated means that their sexuality is always available to them. Okay.
okay. So it communicates to women that they.
It's damaging to women because that's the only empowerment that they can have, and it's damaging to men because apparently liberated, empowered women are always sexually available to them when that is not actually the case.
Actually, it's women like Anita and other feminists that practice sex as a bargaining how can I say? It's that thing, you are not sleeping in my bed tonight, go sleep on the couch.
If you even get to sleep in the building.
Yeah, if you get to sleep in the building. So that's it. So sex is power. Isn't it, Anita?
Apparently women have power. Apparently men have power because they're men. Not for any other reason. Because they're men.
No, actually women have power because unless the man goes to rape and men avoid doing this like a plague because otherwise they will get to be called as rapists. Women have power, yes, because they will say no and the men will stay the hell away from them. And if the woman says you're not sleeping on this bed tonight, the man will not sleep on that bed that night. So, sex is not power, Anita?
Sex is most definitely power. Sex has always been power. Okay? But sex has always been power in the way that she's making it out. Sex has been power because the women are the ones that can, the only thing a woman can do that a man cannot is bear children. Be pregnant, bear children. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Biological no difference.
Drive alone says that they're in charge here. Okay? I'm not even sure how that look exists because I've never actually made that look, even in mid-blink.
Yeah, she has this weird drooping on her left eye that is creepy as fuck.
All right, let's restart the video.
When we conflate the sexualization of women with power for women, we internalize this harmful myth and begin to think sexualization is the only way to achieve gender equality.
Bullshit. A lot of people voted for Hillary based on the fact that she was female and for no other reason. But that's not actually what's going on here. Okay? Yeah. That is not that myth you're talking about there, Anita. Not even close. Nobody I know of is internalizing that sexual equality is the same as sexual liberation. Okay? Sexual equality is done through cultural means. Sexual liberation is the attitude of the individual that is acceptable within society. And if you leave a society alone about something long enough, they'll be willing to go for just about any damn thing. You beating this over the head with a stick, that's not actually going to work. We are now officially at the halfway point for here.
No. Hooray.
Okay.
Finally.
This is where she's going to start going completely sideways.
Yeah.
But the truth is that sexualization doesn't actually bring us any closer to equality. In her book Enlightened Sexism, Susan J. Douglas sums up the issue. Under the guise of escapism and pleasure, we're getting images of imagined power that mask and even erase how much still remains to be done for girls and women. Images that make sexism seem fine, even fun, and insist that feminism is now utterly pointless, even bad for you. True power here has nothing to do with economic independence or professional achievement. It has to do with getting men to lust after you and other women to envy you.
See, I don't know why she bothered with this. Because this particular thing doesn't actually support her in any significant way. It's a fairly good quote mine, but Susan J. Douglas has her own issues. Okay, and she's not talking about the 1950s. She's talking about the 1750s. Okay. I was actually surprised she pulled out a feminist source to do that. And unfortunately, it's the only thing she says is any source at all. We picked that.
Some gaming fans have come up with all sorts of ridiculous defenses for the sexualized costumes female characters are often made to wear, like the idea that they dress in these outfits as a tactic to help them distract their male opponents.
Actually, it damages her argument. It damages her argument very much. It damages her argument very much what she's saying here.
And there she is pulling that face in the paused screen.
Hold on.
It damages her argument because
we're gonna finish that. We're gonna finish that cycle here. Okay. What am I hearing in the background?
What's up with you?
The idea that they dress in these outfits as a tactic to help them distract their male opponents. It's not unheard of for developers to sometimes rely on this harmful logic too. The superintelligent AI companion Cortana from the Halo franchise has always been depicted as naked, and when asked about why this is, franchise director Frank O'Connor said, "One of the reasons she does it is to attract and demand attention, and she does it to put people off so they are on their guard when they're talking to her, and that she has the upper hand in those conversations. It's kind of almost like the opposite of that nightmare you have where you go to school in the nude and you're terrified and embarrassed. She's kind of projecting that back out to her audience and winning intellectual points as a result."
Oh, look at the smirk! Look at the smirk! Frank O'Connor said that because he was getting a bunch of shit because Cortana appears to be naked in the Halo games, except that in the earliest Halo games you actually had hardware limitations that would restrict any kind of clothing that you could actually put on a character without dealing in some sort of basics, without actually modeling the clothing in or something else. So changing the clothing, and therefore would involve changing out the entire avatar, and that takes even more space.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, male AIs in the Halo universe do wear clothing. The idea of them trying to win intellectual points by walking around naked is ridiculous.
Okay. Okay. Also, when you deal in the male AIs, Cortana was the only AI in the Halo universe for quite some time. The idea that there were others didn't come about until those books were written, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But they didn't start modeling the male AIs until Halo 4. By that time, Cortana's character is already well established. You can't very well just go back and change it for her to be bound up in a big Victorian dress. But when the male AIs first appear, they have everything. They have all the resources they need to be able to render that out quickly and not have issues. Okay, for example, at the top of the stream, I put up a bunch of pictures, some characters from the Fantasy Star series, the first 4 games of the Fantasy Star series, just to kind of give them the idea of what's actually, just to give them an idea, going all the way back to 1987, about female characters, combat characters that were actually well dressed.
But we rarely question the extremely widespread association of sexualization and power when it's applied to female characters. Usually,
yeah, I'm just going to let that go.
The games themselves don't go into much detail to explain or justify why female characters are sexualized.
Okay. Hey guys? Hello? Apparently my panel is off. There's something going on in the background I think it's over at Mellow's house. That's okay.
Yeah, sorry about
that.
Did she say the thing about the most pernicious?
Okay. Now she's going to talk about quiet. We're going to have some quiet while we do this because that particular designer is known for some really squirrely out there shit.
1 sec, I'm just going to see if I can do something about the noise.
Okay.
Because this is actually the lead up to the actual lingerie.
Players are simply meant to unquestioningly accept the impractical outfits
You
these
know
characters
what?
are wearing.
Because that's what they want. That's what they want to do. I'm not even going to go there with you, Anita.
She says that this is pernicious, the most pernicious one. Maybe this is what she wants to wear. This is ridiculous. Why?
Oh, don't worry. She's going to attack that argument in just a minute.
Why? It may be ridiculous.
Sometimes, however, as in the case of Quiet for Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, developers build convoluted and absurd tales about a character's past into the game in an attempt to justify their blatant sexualization.
Quiet, please. Yes, the pun was absolutely intended. Now just watch the footage here. This is actually a cutscene that she could have pulled from anywhere.
Refuses to wear clothes. The last staff member who tried to dress her, breathing through tubes. Other than that, she's completely cooperative. She understands English. She never speaks, sweats, or breathes. What? Well, not with lungs, at least. She breathes through her skin. Clothing would suffocate her. Showers are okay. She can't be submerged. What's wrong with her? She's drinking through her skin.
The stunned look! Sorry, I had to get that one in. She's not quite done with Quiet, so we're still going to ask her Quiet for a minute. Quiet, please.
So, you see, she can't wear clothing because she breathes through her skin. These ludicrous narrative justifications don't make it okay. Regardless of whatever absurd explanation a game might provide, it should go without saying that the only real functionality of outfits like this is to titillate the presumed young straight male player base.
Now she's back to looking old and smirky again. Yeah, okay. You know what? That's fine. If that's what the designer really wants to do. If they're getting pressure from the player base, they have to come up with something, obviously. Okay. Quiet is the sort of character that actually only really communicates through body language and gesture. She apparently doesn't have vocal cords or something. But the idea is not actually impossible. Everything from the insect kingdom does exactly the thing that they're talking on, breathing through their skin. It's not theoretically impossible, depending on what kind of level of GMO you want to try and make this person. That being said, you want to bug out about the designer. You could bug out about the designer all you want. It's the designer being the designer, and that guy is known for this shit. Okay? He is absolutely 130% known for doing this kind of thing, and it's not nearly the issue some people want to think about.
So the character breathes and drinks through the skin. Whatever. It's a character. It's a fictional character. Are we gonna die because of this?
Hideo Kojima, he's been known. He's done millions, loads of shit like this, and wacky narrative shit is actually part of his style.
No, can I say something that's actually serious? This kind of conversation about breathing and drinking through skin pops up all the time in transhumanism discussions. Anita is so out of her mind that she doesn't even know what's happening in the real world, much less in the game world. She doesn't have a clue about a fucking thing. That's it. Because people think about transhumanism, or people will become some sort of androids or something, people will become machines. No. Transhumanism may go another way. People becoming genetically modified or some kind of thing. So that's not totally impossible.
Okay.
So this character may be perfectly well the future of humanity.
Okay. But yeah, Anita has now officially taken exception to this. Okay.
Out of all the arguments that are tossed out to defend the impractical and objectifying clothing that women are made to wear in games, there's one in particular that I hear the most often, and that's perhaps the most pernicious. That argument is, maybe that's what she wants to wear, which is ridiculous.
And now she's going to try and explain how. Yes, Hired, that is exactly right. That means that she expects all men to think of these characters only as being sex objects. Now he's offended and triggered and running into his safe space.
These women are fictional constructs. That means they don't dress themselves or pick out their own clothing. And I can't believe I have to say this. All these visual designs are deliberate choices made by the developers, and they serve a specific purpose. They communicate to straight male players that these characters exist primarily as sex objects to be consumed.
Citation needed. Citation fucking needed. God damn it, woman. Citation needed. Why would you have female developers designing these characters, female designers working on these characters, if that was the only thing running through their little brains? Really? Citation fucking needed. Of course, you don't have one, but I don't expect you to. Like, yeah, she's doing that creepy eye thing again.
In doing so, they also reinforce the larger notion in our culture that the value of real human women is determined largely by their sexual desirability.
Again, you're repeating yourself, Anita. Make another point. Come on, you've been doing this the whole video.
sexism
Hell, you've
culture.
been doing this the entire fucking series. Make a point. Please. Also note that she uses the language that the female characters
might
are
actually
made to wear these things, as if someone's actually putting a gun to their head, put a gun to Ada Wong's head and said, put on the slinky dress, bitch. That didn't happen either. Okay? Actually, she probably, even if she watched a playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3,
Did you say that it reinforces the larger notion that in our culture that the value of real women is determined by the desirability to men?
That's just it. She's cherry picking her way through, grabbing just specific examples of characters that she can pick on, without actually looking at the larger culture, without looking at the entire body of work. And you can't. This is not the way you do research. It's not.
It's only her
Except
opinion.
that she's presenting it.
Where is the study? Where is the study? At least one study, which proves nothing. One study proves nothing. To say that a fictional female character designed for straight males, primarily to be consumed, and in doing this, they reinforce the notion that the larger notion in our culture that the value of real women is determined by their desirability to men. How? How can she link? How can she make this leap?
You see, this is high quality, cutting edge, hard hitting feminist research. This is what they paid her more than $1 million for over the last few years. Okay, she's taken in more money than friggin' God to do this. To do this thing. And then she just got another $200,000 so that she could do post-production on the videos where she gets to play dress up and play as various characters through history. An Asian character, a black character, a bunch of them.
This is preposterous. This is preposterous because she's making leaps with no studies, with no evidence, with no proof of anything that she's pulling out of her ass.
All right.
Of course, but any person with two neurons in their brain.
Actually, we don't even need 2 neurons. All we need is a half-dead brain cell. Don't even need a fucking neuron.
Oh yeah.
A couple of neurotransmitters that work just brilliantly. Okay, moving on. We've only got about 4 minutes left of this video, and I kind of want to get through it because I think we can.
It's not hard to imagine what more practical clothing options might look like for some of these characters. But if you're having a hard time envisioning that, I'll let you in on a little secret. For those of you who aren't familiar, there's this thing called a sports bra.
Now the lingerie. This is the only piece of lingerie, aside from that pair of panties way back in the beginning, that even happens. Okay. Also note that she's got her nails all nicely done.
Sports bras are designed to keep breasts held in place to better facilitate athletic activities. In other words, they're used to prevent jiggle physics in real life.
Not all women wear enough support like that. There are some women for whom sports bras really don't work. My wife is one of those. Yes, Richard, that's exactly right. Okay.
In the real world, there are many female martial artists, athletes, and women in combat roles that developers could use as inspiration when designing and dressing their female characters.
You want me to use a soldier or a track star to dress Bayonetta? Yeah, there you go. That's just... Yeah, and she just did. She objectified every woman. Wait, it gets better, folks.
It's important to note that the amount of skin shown is not the crux of the problem. Many female athletes wear minimal, form-fitting clothing because it's more conducive to their activities.
She just kicked she's kicking her own ass again. Because she was bitching about Jill Valentine's outfit way back in the beginning. Remember that, guys? Yeah, she was bitching about Jill Valentine's outfit, which was, of course, form-fitting. There was some skin showing, and it was conducive to the activities she was going for. Okay, I made the same points right before we started the video with some of these. For example, Nay and Nay first. There's another shot of Nay. What do we got? We got
go ahead with the sports because I have something to share too.
There's Rika from Phantasy Star 4. Okay. Let's go back to about here. I think it was here. Okay. Miyu, Nay, and Rika, Phantasy Star series. Kara and the Empire General from Phantasy Stars or for Final Fantasy VI. Just, I mean, how do you not get this? Anyway, you were going to say, Catherine.
Continue with this segment and then stop.
However, their outfits are not designed with the primary goal of sexualizing the athletes for the benefit of spectators. The problem of female characters wearing impractical, sexualized, and objectifying attire...
Yeah. Can you stop for a moment? Let me screen share for
I will go ahead and swap that out here. Let me know when you're ready. Okay.
I am ready.
Let me do the clicky thing here. Okay, I'm not seeing your share yet. Here we go.
This is the athletes for beach volleyball, female.
Okay. I'm not seeing a lot of control tops here.
Yes, they are adequately dressed for the sport they are playing.
Looks like it.
Are they not? Where they are?
Where they are? Then you got this one. You got the one lady there. This lady right here. This lady right here is actually pointing out her own butt crack.
Yeah.
There's another one that's got got her fingers over her butt crack.
Yeah. Yeah, and they are enjoying themselves. Look here. Boobs. This is not a sports bra. That were here.
Okay.
Look.
Yeah.
Look at her butt here.
Yep. Both her cheeks completely on the exposed. This is definitely not a sports bra. That is most definitely not a sports bra.
Yeah. Not here.
Yeah. That's just a standard bikini top.
Not here.
Standard bikini bottom in a completely different color.
Beach volley players from Spain.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. What? All right, let me swap that.
Yes. Some wear something more modest, yes. But again, here, it's not exactly how Anita thinks that things work.
So let's move on to our next abomination, because we just compared virtual women to real women, and you know what? The real women are wearing exactly what they want to do what they're going to do. Wow, what a
real
concept.
Women do what they want to do with their bodies.
Okay.
Anita.
Okay, but she used female track stars, track and field folks on purpose.
Of course, that's why I selected my beach volleyball players.
And being put on display for players is not a difficult one to solve, and developers already know how to do it. Even many fighting games that have several sexualized female characters on the roster often have one female option who is in more practical attire.
Get ready!
Okay. Is he going to do Dark Souls here for a second? Or Dark Souls 3?
Dark Souls games are generally pretty good about not making armor appear significantly different on female characters than it does on male characters.
But you can still tell.
Natural Selection 2 and XCOM also have examples of women in practical armor. And Assassin's Creed Syndicate put female gang members in outfits very similar to those worn by male gang members.
Except that a woman in the late 1700s wearing something like that would be considered not female, not particularly female. They would actually be shredded for having. They would actually be shredded. They would be publicly shredded for that sort of wear.
And she's still feminine. Look at her waist.
Hey, you can even see that she owns breasts. Well, how about that? How about them apples?
Yeah, you can see the breast.
Clothing cut for women. Yeah. We already had a discussion about clothing cut for women, didn't we, Catherine? What was the last time we did a feminist fundamental stream?
None of this is to say that characters in games.
Hey there, Sam. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we're having a little smackdown of Anita. She actually went to the trouble of destroying her own point, and she's only described 2 pieces of lingerie, a pair of panties that appeared for about 6 frames way back in 2000 for a video game advertisement, and a sports bra that she held up for a good 20 or 30 seconds.
Gang members. None of this is to say that characters in games should never be sexual. Far from it. Sexuality and sexualization are very different things.
Sexuality and sexualization are very different things. How is that, Anita? Please tell us.
The sexualization of female characters is about designing them, dressing them, or framing them in ways that are specifically intended to be sexually appealing to presumed male viewers or players.
Presumed male players or viewers. You completely discount the idea that a woman might want to see some of this, because I'm pretty sure there's at least one. We got 2 minutes and 20 left, and we're gonna let her. We're gonna let you finish now, Anita, but we're gonna bring the rain right after that.
Women's sexuality, on the other hand, exists for themselves and for those that they care to consensually share it with.
Who's to say that the woman walking down the street in Chicago in the dead of winter isn't trying to share her sexuality with the entire fucking planet? Because I know a woman that did that, and that's exactly what she was attempting.
And sexuality can be expressed or experienced in any kind of attire.
Come here, lover boy.
Unfortunately, examples in games of female characters expressing sexual desire in ways that aren't sexualized are exceedingly rare.
How the hell is this not how the hell this is not sexualized? I remember this scene from Dirty Dancing, and yeah, that entire scene was really sexualized.
In 1987, it was highly sexualized.
Today?
Maybe nowadays,
current year,
maybe
this
today
is really tame,
it seems lame.
But in 1987, this actually started, this very scene started a fucking moral panic. You should have seen it. I was there.
Yeah.
I know you were around. You were breathing at that point, Catherine. I don't know if you were or not, Mellow, but it's entirely possible.
Yes.
This one was a couple of years before me.
But I was there, and this scene was extremely controversial.
It was quite daring.
These
Hold
next
on,
few
hold on.
examples aren't great depictions.
Called as erotic.
In fact, this movie just barely missed an X rating because of it. All right, hold on a second.
Because of this scene.
Okay, because of this scene, it barely missed an X rating here in the States for that. Okay, hold on now. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the rest of what she's gonna say here, because she's just gonna foam at the mouth here for the next minute or so.
That aren't sexualized are exceedingly rare. These next few examples aren't great depictions of what we're talking about. They're just some of the only examples that exist
Only
at all.
examples that exist at all. Let's see. What do we got together? Yeah, we got some of that. All right. You're not looking very deep there, Nita.
Serve to illustrate how rare it is for female sexuality in games to be presented in ways that are humanizing rather than sexualizing. The Last of Us left behind.
The Last of Us, of course. Hold on. Let's get her. Let's let her finish.
Sexuality in games to be presented in ways that are humanizing rather than sexualizing. The Last of Us Left Behind features female characters who express romantic feelings.
Hi, please. We're letting Anita finish.
For each other, rather than exuding a sexualized energy that is directed outward.
How do you direct it outward to the player?
What do we do now?
We'll figure it out. And in Firewatch, though it's only heard and not seen, Delilah expresses sexual desire for the player character Henry.
I wish I was over there.
I wish you were too.
We could sit outside. We could talk without these radios. We could, you know.
These moments aren't presented as titillating morsels of sexuality for players. Rather, they function as expressions of the character's sexuality that deepen our investment in the characters and their relationships to each other.
Now, from what I hear, and I haven't played Firewatch, so I couldn't really tell you off the top, but it would seem that part of the problem that they were having with Firewatch is that that particular scene was, or actually their relationship of that nature, is considered forced. It's considered forced because that's the only two characters you can have. And of course, if you have a male and a female, a romantic option is always if you have if you have just a couple of characters or a very small cast, some sort of romance options are almost always a thing in a lot of stories, especially when you have isolated men and women that are doing that kind of that are in contact with each other, but not the rest of the world. Then you have the other one, and from what I remember hearing of The Last of Us, the whole Ellie and the girlfriend thing was actually something that was agitated for by the social justice types. That wasn't something they had intended, at least not originally. That's actually an example of a developer folding for inclusiveness.
To clarify, the act of sex isn't the problem, but rather how it's presented. I'd love to see great representations of healthy consensual sex in games, but sadly, when consensual sex does occur, it's often presented either as a transaction or as a reward for player accomplishment, whether that accomplishment is completing quests or just choosing all the right dialogue options to get the sex cutscene to play.
She just cheapened all three of those games, and making things cheaper and actually finding a way to make that first game there, Ride to Hell Retribution.
That's
an accomplishment. Yeah. Because it's easily the worst AAA game that's been produced in, 10 years at least.
Last 10 years.
I mean, it's probably one of the worst since E.T.
Because around 10 years ago.
Often presented as a reward for an accomplishment or a transaction.
In Right to Hell's case, that is true, but for those last two, that isn't.
And there was
opinion.
actually quite a deep. There's actually quite deep stories in the Mass Effect games that go with that. And Witcher has a very, very liberal idea of sex to begin with, but the two characters involved there are actually generally involved through the entire series. Okay. What they don't understand, what she doesn't seem to be getting here, is that sexuality, in a great many ways, can be can actually come out as some form of transaction. If I make nice to the wife enough, the kitchen is clean and I've got her a bunch of flowers, the chances are I might actually get some. But if I approach her for it and she says no, well, that's just it. It's over.
Yeah, but the thing that she named the thing about making it all about lingerie is not armor.
She hasn't even gone near there. She hasn't even gone near it. She went nowhere near it. I went looking for counter examples for lingerie not being armor. Okay, and look, I came up with at least 3 more relevant concepts. Right here, that one. 3 examples that were more relevant than anything she's had to say in the entire fucking video. Okay, now we've got less than a minute to go, and we probably should get on with this, or we're not going to have chatter time.
Fantastic.
When fictional female characters in games are dressed in impractical armor or clothing, it encourages players to view them as sex objects.
It means that the characters are being the characters, and that you need to move the fuck on.
And reinforces the already pervasive and harmful notion in our culture that sexualization is the most viable or only real route to power for women.
Hillary Clinton is a perfect counterexample. I don't know anybody in their right mind that would do her right now. And yet she won. Or she is the presumptive winner at this point, because she still doesn't have a big enough lead on the Sanders to act that they can't all just jump ship. At the same time, there's even
when she finishes, I would like to address what she said right at the end.
We will get on with that. We will do that.
By contrast, when those characters are dressed in clothing that is truly practical and functional for the work that they're doing, and when they express sexuality and sexual desire in ways that aren't served up as sexualized treats designed primarily for straight male players to consume and enjoy, it encourages players of all genders not to view those characters as sexual objects, but to be invested in them as people.
She's actually done now. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Can I say something? Wait, when she was...
I gotta go back I gotta go back a second here. Hold on. I'm gonna pause something here.
Characters as sexual objects, but to be invested in them as people.
Okay. She actually is listed, she listed herself as the director. She is now writing along with Carolyn Pettit, and most of us should know that name by now. Special thanks to Jonathan McIntosh. He doesn't really exist anymore. He doesn't even. But if you look at her, if you actually go to Feminist Frequency, and check the board members and employees, there's not one male on staff anymore, including McIntosh.
Wait, then if she has someone to play it, doesn't that mean that girls do play games that she wasn't really inferring to at that stage?
Well, she says that if we make the women wear stuff that is appropriate for them, for their activities, then then rather than being treats for the player, then people of all genders will think, yeah, I don't even know where you got that from. All right. Go ahead, Catherine.
Can I say
Floor is
something?
yours.
Okay, so she stresses that when fictional female characters are presented in practical clothing, it encourages players to view them as sex
Yes,
objects.
she said that.
And reinforces the already pervasive and harmful notion in our culture that sexualization is the most valuable and only real route for power to women.
Again, I point to my counterexample.
And okay, back then when she flashed that sports bra of hers, that was the actual only piece of lingerie, what she says about women's sexuality and women's sexualization, because I actually went to the trouble of writing down what that bitch said. She says that sexualization of female character is about designing them and dressing them and framing them in ways specifically intended to be sexually appealing to male viewers or players, and that women's sexuality and sexualization are very different things. Women's sexuality exists for themselves. This is what she said.
Yep, that is exactly what she said.
And that's exactly what she said. So that's this is the harmful notion in our culture that sexualization is the most valuable or only real route for women to power when you present fictional female characters in impractical clothing. By contrast, when those characters are dressed in truly practical clothing for their work, for the work they're doing, and they express sexuality and desire in ways that aren't sexualized and treated and designed primarily to serve straight male players to consume women to, I can't understand what I wrote. It encourages players of all genders not to view those characters as sexual objects, but be invested in them as people. So, back to beginning, when fictional female characters are blah, 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 it encourages players of all genders not to view those fictional female characters as sexual objects, but to be invested in them as people. What the hell is this about?
But she can't invest in men as people.
Yes, men don't count as people. She's talking she several times because I wrote everything she said. That's why I was late. I wrote everything she said. That I have a reference. I have a pile of paper here. And she stresses several times that she's talking about fictional female characters. And then right in the end, she wants this fictional female characters not to be treated as sexual objects, but to the players to invest them as to be invested in them as people. But on the other hand, I would like us to do a series on male characters being sexualized.
We can do that. It's not that hard to do.
Yes.
Shouldn't be too much trouble.
Because you know what? I am a woman, and I don't see anything wrong with men or women being sexualized. And if anything is sexy, I don't care what sex the sexy thing is. There is nothing wrong with something being sexy. There is nothing wrong with something being beautiful. There is nothing wrong at looking at beautiful things. I refuse to be shamed because of things that I said. I say it happened last week, and I was kind of upset that it happened. I'm not upset anymore. Fuck the person that tried to shame me because of things that I say. And it was a male feminist, actually, who did that. It wasn't even a female. So fuck them. And I would like us to do something about male characters that are presented in a sexualized way.
I think we could actually put that together. Let's see. Let's do some. Let's do a little poking around with Final Fantasy here. Tifa is dressed in such a way that she can move freely. The big complaint everybody had was she had big tits, and well, okay, some women have those, really. Here is Yuna from Final Fantasy X2. Again, she's dressed for freedom of movement, and she's got to do a lot of running, jumping, and all the other sort of neat crap. Not sexual. I don't consider this sexualized. Never mind, highly sexualized. Let's see. Nope. That's not what we're trying to do. Okay. Let's see. Riku, Final Fantasy X. 10 and 10-2. Not horrifyingly sexualized. Damn it. Stop that. Okay. There is Pain from Final Fantasy 13. Lightning. I need a better shot of lightning, though. Let's see. Come on. I need a better shot of lightning. Okay. There you go. There's lightning. Again, set up that that's Ash from Final Fantasy X. Or not 10, 12. Sorry. My bad. Let's see. Here is Yuna, Final Fantasy X. That is the female party member from Final Fantasy III. I don't know. We got some full body shot. Okay, here's Lightning. There's not even really anything in terms of skin showing. There is a better shot of Lightning. Most of her outfit. She's wearing a pair of shorts that won't interfere with her movement. Who else is good? I'm not sure who that is. There is a version of Eris that somebody did, and that is actually the right outfit. Damn it. Stop doing that. Not used to Google Images anymore. Let's see. That's Cloud. That's Vanille, Final Fantasy 13. That one is Terra, Rydia from Final Fantasy IV. Nicely covered. She's a summoner. She really doesn't need to be all that sexualized. I think that one's from Final Fantasy 15. I haven't actually looked at it. Let's see. What else have we got? I mean, there's all kinds of examples that you could really point to for some really well dressed, well and creatively dressed characters from the Final Fantasy series. That should be that's another Yuna costume. Let's see, what else we got? There's got to be some more here. I need to find some more full body shots. That's Riku again. That is Sarah's default costume from Final Fantasy 13. Okay. There's another one. That's Fang, Final Fantasy 13. What else we got? That is the Pure Female from Final Fantasy XIV. That's the basic gear. They're nice
I like
boots,
her
actually. They work
boots.
quite well. That's actually a concept image.
Great
The final
boots.
boots were actually shorter. That's Lulu. There's Penello from Final Fantasy XII. That's Lulu there. That's a setup for freedom of movement. That's actually fan art, so that really doesn't even count. Although the basic dress wasn't actually all that much better. You got a little cage thing here, but she doesn't actually have to move around all that much. She's a black mage. Show more results. Oh, here's one of my personal favorites. That's actually not Yuna. That's the female lead from Final Fantasy VIII, Rinoa. I mean, there's a lot of examples of this. That is an alternate costume for Eris. Okay. I mean, we're replete with this kind of thing, and people get pissy because major characters don't. Oh, there's a full shot of lightning. See? There's nothing wrong. There's nothing inherently wrong with any of the outfits I've shown. There really isn't, and I find myself frequently aghast at the lengths that some people will go to make these people out, to make the developers out to be villains, when the characters themselves they even have their own reasons for doing a lot of this. Some of these are story related. A lot of them are actually appropriate for what they're doing, or at least mostly so. Yeah, they probably, the really super short skirts could probably be replaced with a capri pant. But you know what? Now you're just picking nits. At that juncture, you're picking nits. You're doing this shit to be doing it, and that's pretty much my entire point as far as where Anita seems to be coming from on this. She says lingerie is an armor, but she didn't actually cover lingerie or armor for that matter. She just started bitching about what people are wearing.
The entire point, yes. She made a video to bitch about lingerie not being an armor, and the only lingerie was the piece of underwear in the commercial and the sports bra that she showcased.
Oh, I mean, what is this?
Oh yes, and the bikinis that I showed of the only sports that she actually didn't show.
Oh, do you still have that up?
And because it was her case.
And some of those were really cute. I actually liked a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
And she didn't show. Of course not.
But yeah, here's actually another costume for that's a cosplay for Sarah there. Okay, no, get back here. Okay, I just give. I mean, you pick on Bayonetta, but you leave out lightning. Or here we go. Here's one for you. Beatrix, Final Fantasy IX. I mean, really. Tell me that's overly sexualized. Please tell me that. It's like I said, so many layers of wrong. They don't even know. I don't think she's even looked at any of these. Here we go. Female main characters of Final Fantasy. Let's have a look, because we've actually had a number of them. We have Terra, Tifa, Rinoa, Garnet till Alexandros the 17th. Yuna. That's Ash there. from 12, Lightning from 13. 13-2 is Sarah. And apparently Type 0 has a different, has a more, even more covered up critter. You know, and that's discounting Final Fantasy 2, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all of which had their own female characters on board. Okay, the only one we can't confirm had female characters was the very first Final Fantasy game, and even that, most people seem to think that the White Mage / White Wizard was in fact a female character, all the way down to one artist, the guy that did 8-Bit Theater, did White Mage out as female. Okay, so it's not a question of there's no representation of strong women. It's not a question of how they're actually dressed, unless you're talking about fighting games or some action games, and even then, who is it that's going to be in a big heavy hoop skirt running around jumping over rooftops? I mean, please.
The thing is, it's a game.
Well, apparently Anita does, or she wouldn't be making these fucking videos. But we're definitely gonna do the rest of these, and we're actually for the next stream we're gonna start at the beginning. We're gonna go all the way back to part 1 of Damsels in Distress, and we're just gonna start nailing her to. We're gonna nail her ass to 5 different walls in a square room, because at this point, just this one thing, this shit needs to be said. Okay.
Yeah, because it's just pointless to just reply to her video and do not provide evidence that it's actually she's stuck in bullshit.
At the front and back of the video, I put more evidence that she's wrong than she came up with for her entire friggin' video, and I still have footage that I could use to really take a good chunk out of her. I mean, there is an over the top game a couple of over the top games I was looking at to do for this. To put in here, Sakura Dungeon and Senran Kagura, both of which are recent releases on Steam, and I do suggest that people go have a look. At least look at the upfront videos, or if you want to, there's an ADHD gamer on the channel here, and a stream for Sakura Dungeon, and I did spend a couple of hours, I think it was night before last, on streaming Senran Kagura. Go watch those, okay? There are some cases there where women are sexualized. In both games, the entire cast is female. In Senran Kagura, the only men that are actually even present in the game at all are kind of basic side notes and afterthoughts. They're just, all right. So you know what? Actually, we're gonna have to wrap this up here because I'm gonna have to get moving. We've already been running this a lot longer than I'd intended. So, well, folks, stay safe, stay sane, drink the feminist Kool-Aid.
And have sex. Safe.
Yes.
Safe sex.
All right.
Have safe
And you know
sex.
what, folks? 2.5 hours of chewing on Anita. Let's not take her to heart, and maybe then we can make games fun again.